And here we go, lads. It is lights out at the Vegas Grand Prix. Verstappen is sitting pretty nice and comfy at the top. He's looking good for that championship. Lando faces an uphill battle steeper than climbing Mount Everest from the base of the mountain. There's no question about it. But for Lando Norris in Vegas, you gamble all in or go home empty-handed.
Walsh running the Irish green, and look at the move, he's making down to the inside.
Moves to the front, what a move from fifth all the way to the lead in lap one.
Walsh takes win number 2.
Peter. Wow. So Viva Las Vegas, lads. It's a great track. But before we get into the track, we're going to break down the track itself, look at the most important areas. But we're going to look at it through Lando Norris's eyesight here, right? We're going to see what does he need to do. Now, obviously, you Verstappen fans out there, you must be feeling quite relaxed and confident, right? Good for you. It's good, because your boy's looking good here. But for Lando Norris, what can he do? How can he maximize? Because all Verstappen needs to do this weekend is finish ahead of Lando Norris. Now, when I say that, whether the two of them, whether Verstappen and Norris finish in the top 10 or, dare I say it, even outside the top 10, as long as Verstappen stays ahead, he's champion. So we're going to get to all that in a few moments. I mean, this is on-edge stuff. We're going to get into Carlos Sainz here as well, and why going to Williams is not such a great move. And I would be very, very nervous for him going to there next year. This is not a good move. We're going to look at Adrian Newey as well, one of the top boys in Aston Martin. He's departing. He's getting his bags packed here, his P45. He's out the door because they're making room for the man of the hour, Adrian Newey. So, let's look at Carlos Sainz. Now, my heart does go out to Carlos Sainz, and any of you fans out there, I'd love to know how you feel, and let me know in the comments if you want, because you must be nervous, him going from Ferrari, going back to Williams. And you know, lads, I would be very, very nervous. I've been in this situation. I have seen race engineers, team owners who can be crooked, but I don't think I've ever seen such a real maniac at the wheel like James Vowles has done in Williams. This guy is chopping and changing, is messing around his drivers, causing serious untrust. And this guy, I mean, if I was Carlos Sainz, I'd be feeling like the way he's going to Williams next year, it's almost like when you get a new girlfriend, but you realize the moment you've hooked up with her and you're now officially boyfriend-girlfriend, someone's told you that she cheats on all her boyfriends. I mean, how comfortable would you feel being in that scenario? You know? How comfortable would you feel? You're not going to feel fairly pretty. Now, you can understand it too from Carlos's point of view, and I get it as an ex-racing driver. He's hoping to stay in the game maybe 1, maximum 2 years of a sacrifice. Okay, stay in the game. Hopefully my manager gets a good contract for 2026 or 2027. That's what he's hoping for here. And obviously he wants to be at the top sport. But if things go south for this boy, and what James Vowles has done to Logan Sargent this year was unacceptable. I've never heard it. In fact, lads, I stay in contact with some of my race engineers from back in the day because we're like brothers. And even when Logan Sargent got booted out of the team, it was criminal. It was unbelievable what happened to the guy. I mean, they put Alex Albon into his car because Alex crashes out his car. That's like saying That's like saying Peter's a boxing fighter, okay? Or you're a boxing man. You're in the ring. But halfway through the match, your coach comes over and says, okay, time out. Literally pulls you to the side, pulls you out of the ring, and decides to get another boxer to take your place in the exact same fight. And worse, you've got to strip down naked and give him your shorts. Yeah, it's that bad, lads. Honestly, it's that bad. I can't tell you. My helmet here. This is my pride and joy. My suit, my racing car was my pride and joy. It's very, very hard to explain to a lot of people how personal these are to a racing driver. And I've always said, I'm going to my grave with this helmet. I'm really being serious. Call me crazy, call me intense, whatever you want, but hey man, that is just the way it is. This is my baby. And if I could take my racing car with me, I'd take it with me as well. But you obviously can't. But, I mean, really, lads, you know, Logan Sargent just out the door, good luck. And it's not like Logan Sargent was crashing all the time. This was Alex Albon messed up. His teammate messed up. And they boot him out. It's quite incredible, lads. Quite incredible. Maybe another example would be like, imagine if you're at your job and the guy sitting next to you messes up, and yet he messes up and they boot you off your desk, give him your job for what? For nothing. And Alex Albon's results have not been outstanding comparing to Logan Sargent in this year. Now, by the way, I've got nothing against Alex Albon. I've got nothing against Logan Sargent. It's just, it was criminal. It was criminal. So guys, anyway, the point is, Carlos Sainz is saying here in a news article, he's saying, when asked during the recent triple header if he felt a special desire to win during his final races as a Ferrari driver, with it being put to him, Sainz responded, nothing special apart from obviously a lot of motivation to try to achieve it. Nothing would make me happier than achieving something like that before the end of the year. I'm going to give it my absolute best. If it comes, great. If I'm sure I'll be celebrating. If it doesn't, I don't believe it'll be my last chance of fighting for wins and our podiums in Formula 1. You see what he's saying there? Yeah. Maybe Williams will find something, lads. Maybe they will. Maybe they will. And maybe James Vowles has learned his lesson. I wouldn't trust this guy as far as I could throw him. I tell you that. This guy's crazy. Crazy. And if they don't have the car next year, Lord only knows what he's going to do. Maybe he'll actually side with Sainz, and maybe he'll boot out Alex Albon out of his car to help Carlos Sainz, but there's no trust here, man. But, you know, Carlos Sainz, he's a nice guy, and what he did with his appendicitis this year, coming back, just, I mean, I give the man a gold medal, you know, top, bravo, sir, bravo. And I really do, I do, you know what? Show me I'm wrong, God. Show me I'm wrong on this. Please, for Carlos Sainz's sake, and Williams fans out there, show me I'm wrong. Okay, it's really becoming real, lads. We're moving on to the next chapter here. Adrian Newey, we all know the wizard behind the curtain at Red Bull. He's obviously left, and Lord knows there must be some insane drama and fights that have happened at Red Bull this year. For Adrian Newey not to show up for the remaining races when the guy would be under contract. In fact, he's probably still getting paid by Red Bull. Now, of course, we don't know the whole contract, but that could easily happen here, lads. So, what is the news? Dan Fallows has stepped down from his role at Aston Martin as the technical director. So I'm just checking out the column here, lads. And they say the team say he will stay within the group. He joined in April 22, played a key role in their growth and development, which included the team taking 8 podiums with Alonso last year. The team's technical department has swelled in recent times as billionaire Stroll marches on with his bid to make the squad a world championship contending team. Now, ladies and gentlemen, look, we're going to move on to, let's get into the track now and the nitty gritty. But this is huge news. This, I mean, it's just, we've all known he's going to Aston Martin for next year, Adrian Newey. But this is the start. Here we go. The Mike Tyson of engineers is coming in. The Ayrton Senna, whatever you want to call him, the engineers. He's on his way. And he is starting work already. You can be sure of it. There's no two ways about it. And with Adrian Newey and Lawrence Stroll at the wheel, steering the ship here, I think they've got a very, very well-oiled racing team going next year. You've got Fernando Alonso. Now, personally, I think he is the best on the grid right now. He's one of the greatest of all time. You got him in the car. You've got Adrian Newey, and then on top of that, here's where the missing ingredient is for some teams. Lawrence Stroll, the billionaire. He's hands-on. Adrian Newey has gone to Aston Martin because he said that Lawrence Stroll actually shows up at the race at weekends. Now, you'd probably be saying, well, duh, why wouldn't he, right? Well, guys, there's a lot of directors and shareholders and sponsors that are part of these Formula One teams. They don't even show up at the race weekends. They don't get involved in how you doing, Adrian? Do you need more money? What's the progress between that differential that you tried versus the new one? Is it lighter? Is it heavier? What's the downforce like? Is it mechanical better? Is it aerodynamical better? Which one's better? Are we doing better? Have we progressed? Have we found any? Like, this guy's all hands in. All hands on deck. This guy's in the trenches with his soldiers. He's the general, literally digging foxholes with the troops at nighttime. He's on the battlefield. That's the type of guy you want, not the guy who's 50 miles away. You need this guy. And believe you me, with that type of hands-on approach, Adrian Newey knows that he will get the resources behind him. So if they do, now obviously we got the budget cap, but if Adrian Newey needs something, he knows that he's going to be able to rely on his team boss. Because it's not all about Adrian Newey either. You've got to have the driver. You've got to have the mechanics. You've got to have the engineer. But you've also got to have resources on hand. I mean, if you go racing for a couple of years, even if you're in karting or you go up the ladder, you realize this really bloody fast. You can't go around knocking on the same race tires for 4 race weekends. Okay? They start to wear out. You need the equipment on hand. But Adrian Newey knows that if he needs to go to the well, as they say, he'll be able to go to the well and draw out some water. So, guys, we've a very short break coming up for winter, which is great because we're almost straight back into it again. And my Lord, I think Aston Martin is probably going to be the team to beat next year. Okay, lads, let's look at the track. Great circuit, Viva Las Vegas, baby. Night circuit. The track is going to be cold in November, which really shakes things up. It adds the intensity because one little millimeter offline and you are in that concrete wall. These guys are going at over 200 miles an hour down those long straights. But this track, you also need downforce. So this is a real complicated track in terms of you need as much mechanical grip as you can get from toe in, toe out, tracking, camber, caster, ride height, right? The springs, everything. All that needs to be perfect. And you need to have as little downforce on the car as possible because you need the wing open down the straights. So you need as much mechanical grip as you can and as little aerodynamical grip as you can. And that's a very tricky thing to do in a circuit like this. Now, normally I would be saying, okay, lads, this part is the most important corner. But today we're changing it all up. And sometimes this does happen in racing. You got to adapt. Now, we're looking at this through Lando Norris's eyes. How the hell can Lando Norris climb that Mount Everest and keep the championship alive here this weekend? Now, what Lando Norris needs to do around this track is get out of those tight corners and get down those long straights as best as he possibly can. Open himself up for slipstreams, toes, okay? Get on somebody's ass and pop out and take the inside. I personally think that is exactly where he's going to get any sort of advantage this weekend. So really, there's actually not one important corner on the track for him this weekend. It's actually a combination of about 4 straights that he needs to get down and be as smooth out of those tight corners as he can to get down those long straights, and even if it's a half a mile extra going down that straight, that is enough to get a slipstream or prevent someone getting a slipstream on him. Because even if Lando Norris and Max Verstappen, and like we said about the points here, lads, all Verstappen needs to do is finish ahead of him. So if Lando Norris gets himself in a situation where he's got Verstappen trying to get a slipstream off him, going up those long straights, which can easily happen, he's got to make sure that he's got that half a mile an hour coming out of those bends enough, so if Verstappen does get himself up his bumper, he's got that half a mile extra to just keep him at bay. I mean, I know this is like, excuse me guys, this is really, it's such a hard, steep mountain to climb for this guy. I mean, oh Lord, what does he do? What does he do? And he's going to have to try and stick it on pole. In fact, to be honest with you, in many ways, I'd actually rather be starting on the second row. It's kind of like Mexico, Italy, where you can get that slipstream, and Spain as well, right? Sometimes it's not beneficial to start on pole position. So in other words, like I said, Spain, Mexico, where you've got that start-finish line and you've got a long straight down going into turn one. So what's going to happen here is that whether it's the first corner, second or third, the first half a lap for him, for Norris, is going to be very, very crucial. Get down those long straights and capitalize. And if he is struggling a little bit, well, then he's got a slipstream. Now, if he starts pole, somebody's going to get a slipstream on him. But if he starts third or fourth, he'll be able to get a slipstream on them and then pop out and get into the corner ahead and hopefully get into the lead. Now, it's a risky move too. It wouldn't be as crucial as Mexico or Spain starting on the second row, but I do think it would help him tremendously. Tremendously. You got to play this one smart, man. You've got to really play this one goddamn smart. And if he doesn't, well, look, hey, Lando Norris is on his own. He's in the jungle all on his own, boy, in the dark, because Zach Brown and those terrible team have not had this boy's back all year. They just haven't. They just haven't. So it's an uphill mountain to climb. There's no doubt about it. There's going to be carnage at this track. And it's going to be fun to watch. Can Max Verstappen take the crown this weekend? Can Lando Norris hold him off? I'll leave with this. The championship is not over. It's looking bloody good for Max Verstappen. But it ain't over until it's over.
Walsh running the Irish green, and look at the move he's making down to the inside.
Moves to the front. What a move from fifth all the way to the lead in lap one.
Walsh takes win number 2.
Peter Walsh.